Hi, this is Tim of the Watchbox at Dubai Watch Week 2021. We're looking at the latest evolution of Greubel Forsey sports watch. You've seen the Balancier S. This is the Balancier S2. Now, the watch is difficult to describe in dimensional terms. It's made of grade 5 titanium, which means it's lighter than steel and it's also more scratch resistant. But when you hear the diameter or the width of 46.5 millimeters, you might think it's a huge watch. In fact, it's fairly short across the wrist, as the measurement from essentially bezel to bezel across the wrist, it's 43.5 millimeters. So you have to think of the watch as being more like a 42 millimeter round watch in approximate size. Now, the case is highly modular. As you can see, it's both satinated and polished. And we have this wonderful fluid form to the bezel, which is draped over the watch almost as though it were melted on in liquid metal. It has a wonderful fluid and organic form to it that contrasts with the machine aesthetic of the timepiece. Now, we'll get a little bit closer here so you can see the details of the dial. One of the main changes with the Balancier S and the S2 has been the layout of the dial. Now, there are two dials. One's black, one is sort of light gray, as you hear. This light gray is going to be 66 pieces. They're going to make 22 per year. The black is going to be 88 pieces. They're going to make 22 per year. So it's not as though Greubel Forsey is going to start making hundreds of watches a year. They're going to build these out over a series of model years. When you look at the inside of the hour track, you can see that around its base, it's been entirely mirror polished. So, for example, when you look at the balance structure, you can actually see the escapement and the balance structure reflected inside the watch. Now, not only is the watch made of titanium, but the bridges and plates are also titanium, which means all of the finishing that's being executed on the movement, the polish, the satin, and the graining, that's being done on titanium, which makes it even harder. There's a power reserve indicator. It's no longer an arm. It's a sort of an index within an aperture, so it changes the aesthetic. We also have a more modern graphic atop the mainspring barrel. It's still manual wind, 3 days of power reserve, and it's a sports watch architecture, so you can see it's free sprung for durability. The balance is enormous. It has recessed bolts for aerodynamic properties to reduce parasitic drag due to aerodynamics, and then it has a overcoil profile that is bent by hand. We'll turn it over. You can get a sense of the case back. Very traditional on the reverse side. You can see there are these bevels on the edges. Then there are these raised channels at the edge of the bridges. Those are black polished, and the internal portion of the bridge is frosted. It's probably executed with a wire brush. We also have pivot jewels that are set in chaton, and you can see that's a nod to the tradition of pocket watchmaking in Le Chaux de Fonds, where Greubel Forsey is based. This is a prototype, so don't judge by the finish. The finish is great by any standard. It's not quite as good as Greubel would like, but they are perfectionists. Now, the watch is also available on a bracelet. This was available last year on the GMT Sport, which was an uber complication sports watch. It's now available on the Balancier S2. You can see that it features recesses in its side, just like the watch case. And then we have a combination of staggered links, large on the center, small on the outside. Take note that it has a micro adjustment system internally, so you actually squeeze these two triggers and you can move it in and out about 1 centimeter. You'll also note that every individual link on both sides of the bracelet is removable, so you can get a very precise sizing of this watch. Not only is it water resistant to 100 meters, but it is well loomed, so this is a true sports watch. We're here with the Greubel Forsey Balancier S2 at Dubai Watch Week 2021.